As you look at the Western Conference standings right now, as we currently sit tonight, the Suns, the Grizzlies, the Warriors, and the Jazz are your top 4 teams in the Western Conference, followed by the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Pelicans are your teams in the top 10. Of course, seeds 7 through 10 will have to participate in the play-in tournament to be able to get in to the playoffs. Right now, your Mavericks are in the 5th seed. If the playoffs were to start today, they sit right now a half game behind the Utah Jazz and a full game ahead of the Denver Nuggets for the 6th seed right now in the West. So things are pretty tight. With seeds 4 through 6, they're airtight, real tight. So, that's how things stand right now as far as the West. And I wanted to pose this question to the Tolos because I think what we saw last night was a real indication of how well this team has been playing in this building at the AAC. When you look at their home record this year, they are now 23-11 at home, which is a complete reversal of what we've seen from them over the last, couple of years. This is a team that really struggled to win games at home. Pretty decent on the road, but now they've been able to not only play well on the road, but now playing terrific basketball at home. And when you start thinking about how deep the Western Conference is, I want to pose this question, of course, to the Tolos on the truckwreck.com text line 877-881-1053. Do they need home court advantage more than any other team in the West or in the entire NBA when you start looking at the playoff picture, given how well they've been playing at home and what they have not been able to do over the last couple of years by not being able to beat the Los Angeles Clippers in the playoffs? Now, obviously, one of those times was in the bubble, but last year, not being able to win against the Clippers in that first round series. Do they need home court advantage more than any team in the NBA?
Probably. But honestly, they've got some, and I was just looking this up. I was trying to see, it feels like I've had a lot more of these in my head. And so I was trying to just double check real quick and see, but it's ever since they really turned it around, at the start of the new year, that's when things started kind of reversing for them, is even though they've been a better team all year at home, they've got several really good road victories this season. And specifically since the year turned, because you've got Memphis on the road, who they drubbed. You've got the victory against Golden State, obviously without Draymond, and that's different. But you've got the victory over Miami on the road. You kept things close. You didn't win, but you kept things close with Utah about a week and a half back before they came in here and you beat them the other night. I know the Lakers are the Lakers, but still, LA's not always been an easy place for the Mavericks to play in years past. And so, in theory, yeah. And I think when we look at it in its totality, probably, but it's a different basketball team is the thing, not only just since the trade, but also since the new year. And so I think that's the thing to me is that I go okay, can I view it though in a vacuum of just here's everything for the year, or is it more important to look at who they've been in 2022, and is that a team that necessarily doesn't need home court advantage to be able to compete?
And I think that to me is one of the things that has shown as a maturation part of this team this year is that they've been able to be comfortable away from the AAC and at home this year. And when you start thinking about what this team has been through over the last couple of years, you had the tough first round loss to the Clippers where Kawhi Leonard had one of the best playoff games of all time to be able to help win that series for the Clippers. And you think what happened, in the bubble, losing to the Clippers there. This is I think, much more mature basketball team that now understands that they can win games in a variety of ways. I just want to see this team with a chance to have a Game 7 in their own building with Luka Doncic being able to be what he has started to become, obviously, during the second half of this season. Now that he's shed the baby fat, he's out here playing the way that he's been playing. He's been arguably the best player in the NBA for the last month now, and it hasn't been really all that close.
Embiid's been pretty good.
Embiid's been great.
I'd still take Luka, but Embiid's been really good. I'm honestly all the MVP candidates honestly have played really well. Jokic has played well. It's just there. It's but yeah, Luka I think has been the most dominant. I was really wanting a 40 spot last night. I know we were talking about that at halftime, and then at the end of the third quarter, all right, is he going to get 40? And so that's what I'd love to see. I love just the way he's taken over, though. And I think it obviously has ramped up since Porzingis left. But you look at it, and it was starting to. Again, it's coincided, I think, with the new year, where he's really started to pick up his game, and the team as a whole has. That's when the defense started playing better. That's when they started winning some of these games. But I think honestly, I would prefer to play at home, obviously, but I don't think it's nearly as daunting a position to be in if they had to go on the road as it was 2 months ago. And I think against a team that I think match up okay with right now in Utah, that I wouldn't necessarily feel terrible about having to play them on the road.
You think about what the Mavericks have done since the start of the new year, January 1st. They've played 30 games. They have the second best record in the NBA. Only the Suns have a better record than the Mavericks since the beginning of the year. The Mavericks are 23-7, while the Phoenix Suns are 24-5.
Who's third? Celtics?
The Celtics are 22-8.
I know the Celtics went on a run.
Jason Tatum has been phenomenal.
Probably like 51 on Sunday or whatever it was.
Yeah, against Brooklyn. He's been fantastic. So this team has been excellent since the beginning of the year, and that's coincided with the health of Luka Doncic, obviously the trade with Spencer Dinwiddie. And I think one of the things that makes me most excited about them is they get ready to get toward the playoffs, toward the end of the season. I mean, they still got a tough stretch of games, against, the Brooklyns of the world, the Philadelphias of the world. They still got some really tough games. Boston, as we just mentioned. They still got some really tough games, but what gets me excited about this team is they've got a legitimate second scorer now that can go get his own bucket when you need him to.
Are you not worried? I feel comfortable with the way he's played, and I'm excited about it, but are you not worried, the feeling of oh, we've got it? Is there any sort of let me see it a little bit longer before I feel comfortable Dinwiddie's the legit two? Or do you feel good about where it's at right now?
I feel good about where it is right now. I definitely want to see a bigger sample size. I mean, obviously the fit has been extremely good so far, to where it's been a very natural fit for him to come in, to be the second scorer, take the the ball to the paint, get guys involved. He's been a natural playmaker that's really fit well, into this offense.
Yeah, and from everything we heard about his experience in Washington and stuff like that, that's also probably a big factor here, is that guy's just playing loose now. Mm-hmm. That was just not a good situation for him. And
more importantly, he's fully healthy from the torn ACL. Mm-hmm. I think people forget when he first, was there in Washington, he was still working back from that torn ACL, and he was still putting together some decent games while he was there. But you could tell now he's fully recovered, from that ACL injury, and he's playing with the kind of aggressiveness that you want your second scorer to have when you need to have him during playoff time. So I just am excited to see. I'm not necessarily ready to go championship contender yet, because this is a true top 10 team in the NBA. They're firmly in that conversation now. The question is, when you get to the playoffs, because they've been there the last couple of years, can they take advantage of what they now have in their ability to get more people involved and now have more guys be able to go get a bucket when you need them to? And Dinwiddie is one of those.
And if Bertans starts knocking down shots more consistently since he's been brought in, that just adds another dimension to all of it.
Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the more fun parts about this team offensively is you are going to make teams have to make real bad decisions, because when Dinwiddie's able to take the ball to the basket, you got the pick and roll stuff rolling with Luka and Dwight Powell. Then you got guys like Davis Bertans sitting out there in the corner camping out with Dorian Finney-Smith hitting threes. You're going to make teams make decisions on how you're going to guard them. And if you got guys knocking down shots, now you're able to spread the floor open, and Luka Doncic can go create however he wants to. Dinwiddie can go create however he wants to. That just puts that much more pressure on defenses, and you're hoping to see that consistently, for the rest of the season and into the playoffs. But this is a legitimate top 10 team. I'm not ready to go championship contender yet, but I'm ready to see this team be able to take it and excel a little bit further into the NBA playoffs.